Hey everyone, welcome back to MangaMinute. I'm thrilled to share my latest recap video with you. If you missed the previous one, no worries, just take a quick peek in the description below for the link. Now, let's dive right in and enjoy.
On that particular night, the atmosphere in the meeting hall was heavy with anticipation. Representatives from various guilds had gathered, their faces lit by the dim, flickering lanterns as tension hung in the air. The Sword Saint Guild was well represented, and Ash, a prominent figure among them, seemed restless, his sharp eyes darting between the other guild leaders. His gaze lingered on Sword Elder Bali, who sat composed yet commanding, exuding an aura of confidence and control. Across the room, Bess Mag, the leader of the Card Guild and a former member of the Sword Saint Guild, was another source of unease. He sat rigidly, attempting to maintain his composure, yet the quiet fury simmering beneath his outward calm was unmistakable. It was as though the mere mention of an apostle had sparked a fire within him, barely contained. Ash couldn't help but take notice of Bess Mag's suppressed rage. It radiated from him like heat from a furnace, palpable even at a distance. As Ash observed the scene, his thoughts turned inward. He recalled the history that loomed over them all: Bess Mag's deep-seated hatred for the Dark Guild, a loathing so profound it had driven him to form his own guild in defiance of them. The memories were still fresh in Ash's mind. The tales of Bess Mag's crusade against the Dark Guild, of how he had once taken it upon himself to hunt down and slaughter hundreds of apostles in a single bloody campaign. Whatever horrors Bess Mag had endured, whatever battles he had fought, had left an indelible mark on him. His fury was not that of a man seeking revenge. It was the rage of someone who had seen too much and had vowed never to stand idly by again. Even now, with the mention of apostles looming over the discussion, Bess Mag's resolve was clear. Ash could sense it, the barely restrained desire for action, the tension coiling within him like a tightly wound spring, waiting for the moment to snap. As Bess Mag scanned the spectator seats, his face betrayed a growing sense of unease. Familiar figures had appeared, and the sight of them sent a wave of panic through him. Sweat began to bead on his forehead, his thoughts racing. How had they managed to get here? The realization dawned on him like a chilling gust. There could be only one reason for their presence. Lu Ping, the man he revered, had come to observe him, to see if Bess was using the cards and barley tea entrusted to him with the proper care and righteousness. A mixture of pride and fear welled up inside him. Bess had dedicated himself to the hunt, rooting out apostles and striving for the peace of the continent. Yet, doubt gnawed at him. Perhaps, despite his efforts, it still wasn't enough to meet their expectations. At the center of the arena, the clash of battle intensified as Jayla unleashed a barrage of relentless attacks. His voice echoed across the space, filled with brutal intent as he hurled taunts, his strikes quick and merciless. Each blow was aimed to overwhelm, to crush his opponent with sheer force. Across from him stood Qing, the Sword Saint, calm and focused despite the ferocity of the onslaught. His mind worked methodically, assessing his options. Only one move remained within his arsenal, but doubt briefly flickered in his thoughts. Could he pull it off? The moment was critical, but uncertainty could not be allowed to take root. Drawing upon the wisdom imparted by his master, Qing steadied himself. He knew the path forward, to enter the state of selflessness, to clear his mind of all distractions. His focus sharpened as his body and spirit became one with the blade. There could be no hesitation, no second-guessing. He had to embody the teachings, to trust in his training. Jayla's frustration mounted as his relentless attacks failed to connect with his opponent. His rage swelled, pushing him to unleash his formidable high-level, earth sheet, magic. With a powerful motion, he gripped the arena floor, pulling it up as if the very ground were a flexible sheet under his command. The once solid earth transformed into a shifting, undulating surface, rippling beneath their feet. Qing, quick to react, leaped into the air, narrowly evading the surging ground. But Jayla's magic was far from ordinary. The ground, now fluid and animated, chased him into the sky, wrapping around his body with unnerving speed. In moments, Qing was engulfed, the earth curling into a ball with him trapped at its center. completely encased in solid rock. Triumphant, Jaela strolled toward the ball of earth, his confidence radiating. He knocked on the surface with a smug satisfaction, proud of his mastery over earth magic. His taunts echoed across the arena, reveling in the belief that his victory was assured, showcasing his prowess that rivaled even the most skilled magicians. But just as he was savoring his moment of triumph, the unexpected happened. From within the confines of the earth ball, Qing executed his micro-cut technique, a precise, deadly strike aimed at freeing himself. Sensing the danger, Jaela instinctively leaped back, attempting to create distance between himself and the sudden threat. Despite his swift reflexes, the damage was already done. Qing's attack had sliced cleanly through the earth, and though Jaela managed to avoid being caught in its full force, he was not unscathed. He cursed aloud as pain shot through him, realizing with horror that his left wrist was gone, severed by the precision of Qing's counterattack. As the momentum of the battle shifted, Qing seized the opportunity. Using his refined micro-cut technique, he sliced through the earth ball that had imprisoned him. In a swift motion, he freed himself, his body emerging from the rubble. Under his breath, he murmured a mantra that steadied his resolve. No fear, no doubt, no surprise, no confusion. The words centered him, and an ethereal aura, sharp and radiant like a sword's edge, began to emanate from his fingers as he entered the selfless state. His movements grew more fluid, his mind clearing of all distractions. Jaela's face twisted in anger as he realized the tables had turned. He shouted in frustration, his voice laced with desperation. But before he could retaliate, Qing struck. Moving with incredible speed and precision, Qing closed the distance in a blur, his hand cutting through the air like a blade. The attack was directed with deadly intent, aimed at Jaela's right foot. In an instant, the strike found its mark, severing Jaela's foot cleanly. Jaela collapsed to the ground, pain surging through him as he clutched at the stump where his leg had been. His cry of agony filled the arena, his desperation clear as he howled in disbelief. The balance of power had shifted irreversibly, and now, Jaela lay at Qing's mercy. Approaching the fallen opponent, Qing spoke with finality, his voice low and measured. "That was your last chance." Despite his severe injuries, Jaela refused to surrender. His defiance burned as he shouted, but inwardly, doubt began to creep in. His master had warned him that brute strength alone wouldn't guarantee victory, especially against skilled opponents from the Sword Saint Guild. The memory of his master's advice surfaced. There was still the special drug, a forbidden tool meant for last resort. Jaela hesitated, weighing the risks. He knew the drug could enhance his strength beyond limits, potentially allowing him to achieve his goal of transforming into a demon king. Yet the cost was high. If he mishandled its power, the backlash could be devastating. His thoughts raced. He hadn't expected Qing to possess such hidden skills, such overwhelming force. The situation was dire. Meanwhile, Qing stood tall, pointing his aura-infused sword toward the kneeling Jaela. His voice was firm, unyielding. The offer was clear. Abandon the power granted by the Dark Guild and surrender while sanity still remained, and his life would be spared. Qing's calm presence contrasted starkly with Jaela's desperate state, a reminder of the discipline and control that marked the Sword Saint Guild's teachings. Jaela, however, had no intention of yielding. His pride and ambition consumed him. There was no choice now but to use the forbidden drug, to gamble everything for the transformation he so desperately desired. He began to mutter his intent, the hunger for power evident in his voice, but before the final words could escape his lips, Qing acted. In a single, swift motion, he swung his sword. The aura that radiated from the blade cut through the air with precision, striking Jaela's neck. The strike was merciless, ending the battle in an instant and eliminating Jaela from the competition. As the dust settled, Qing stood victorious, the last man standing alongside Yi from the Card Guild. Yet, Yi, who had been trapped within the thick vines of her imprisonment, watched the battle unfold with keen, calculating eyes. Doubt gnawed at her as she observed Qing's overwhelming strength. The question lingered in her mind. Could she truly continue? Should she even try, or was surrender the only option left?